with everyone needs a gimmick. That's like my tagline. And so him being a soccer comic is very funny to me.
What was your favorite soccer joke?
Get him.
Hello, and welcome back to Rewatching Home Movies, a weekly watch-along podcast where three friends break down the 1999 animated series, Home Movies. My name is Tim, and I'm obsessed with home movies.
My name's Adele, and I'm a home movies newbie.
And my name's Marcin, and I've never seen home movies.
Home Movies Season 2, Episode 1, titled Politics. Original air date January 6th. 2002.
Where were you? Where were you?
I was watching Politics on Adult Swim, which was written by Brendan Small and Bill Broadus and cast. So I'm really liking my synopses I've been finding. They're all one sentence, short and sweet. Brendan runs for school president, but trouble starts when Shannon endorses his candidacy.
I saw the episode title on accident as you clicked on it. I was like, no!
God damn it.
It was just, it's politics, so I was like, huh, interesting.
Yes.
But I remembered that earlier in the episodes, you mentioned that Brendan was going to run for president under a slogan.
That was because you had brought up you would run, and there was a right way, there was a wrong way.
And there's a Conway. And that's the only thing I had. I was like, it's a good slogan.
It is. And it immediately reminded me of the inevitable slogan of Brendan. But when he first hears that, he's not a big fan.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was great. But before we jump into that, let us jump into the creative corner, shall we? Creative corner, doodly-doo. Of course, the creative corner is something creative that you're consuming, producing, anything you just want to put in the spotlight. Who would like to go first?
I will.
Oh, Adele.
I thought you were going to be like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
No, of course you can go first. What do you got?
So I have been watching this YouTube channel a few years now. It's called Living Big in a Tiny House. And it's this dude who lives in New Zealand. He goes around sometimes he goes to Australia too, because it's right there. But he goes to other people's homes that they built usually from scratch. And they're these tiny little things. And they're so cute. And I want one so badly. And I will watch this man interview these people for hours. Because it's like when you have your own space that you make your own, you can see the artistry and the creativity of each individual home. And he gets so into it, and he's so observant and respectful of people's spaces. And like a lot of the people who live this lifestyle are artists, and it's a way for them to pursue their art and live within their means and live simple lives and just not be slaves to capitalism.
You've already sold me.
Yeah.
You've already sold me. You don't have to keep selling me.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this dude like very tall? He's like 6'2" or 6'3".
Yeah.
So he's going through all these tiny homes like, oh, very cool. Like,
Yeah, a good amount of the time when he's in these tiny homes, his neck is like at a 90-degree angle. But he has such a deep appreciation for the movement, and it's the people who are watching excited. And like, I want to live that lifestyle so bad.
he's a very genuine dude.
Yeah, he's so sweet.
I like the idea of function over just like, especially when you were just talking about like the artistry of creating a space for yourself. Mm-hmm. There has to have a function to it at some point. Like the fact that like a garbage can that pulls out of a drawer, like that, that there's a function to that, and there's artistry involved with. As someone in this generation who I had to like mourn the fact that I will probably never have my dream home. Mm-hmm. I will never have a home, possibly. We don't know. I try not to like think about it too much.
Yeah.
But remember when you were a kid and you're like, man, my dream home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have that castle top. I'm gonna have that sky window.
I'm gonna have a fucking indoor pool.
I'm gonna have my fireman's pole from the third floor all the way down to the first floor.
My weird thing I always wanted in a house, if I had just like whatever money, is a bowling alley. I don't know why. I'm always like,
because you're good at it.
That's true. How come we haven't gone bowling?
Because I suck at it, dude.
But
Tim's really good, and I get gutters almost every time.
Remember we were playing Wii? And
Gene on the green. I'm okay with Wii bowling. I'm okay there.
I'll hook the Wii back.
Yeah.
bowling alleys, fireman's pole, and then what was the thing?
Pool. I just wanted an indoor theater. Yeah.
I would love to have.
With lazy boys.
Okay, that's it.
But
Let's
the thing
take
is,
down capitalism.
Here's the thing. When you have a big house, you got to clean that bitch. And I'm not cleaning a big house. I'll clean a tiny house. I'll clean a tiny house in an hour.
Oh, here. The problem is, like, I grew up in a hoarder home, and now I have, like, a hoarder mentality of, like, well, I can't throw this away. I'm going to need this grape stem at some point.
That's my bro. That's my brother.
So, like, it's just about, like, trying to figure out what you need to keep and what you need to throw away.
Yeah.
But I fell into that tiny home, like, thing a long time ago, and the idea of living in, a sick van. A sick van.
Oh my God. Some people take like school buses and turn them into these beautiful homes. Oh my gosh. And then you can either keep your school bus house stationary or you can travel the country in your school bus house. I don't know, man.
I kind of figured out an idea for season 2 of this podcast. We travel around the world.
We take it on the road.
Get on the road, guys.
Nice. That's a very good creative corner.
Thank you. I watch it so much, I should talk about it at some point.
Oh, yeah.
So I do.
Agreed. Marson, would you like to go or would you like me to?
No, I can definitely go. So mine is there. I live in Chicago, and there's so many different amazing things that you can just find in the like nooks and crannies of Chicago. And one of the places that me and my partner have found recently, we found it earlier in the summer. It's only a summer thing. I'm wearing the shirt. It's called the Sugar Hole. And what the Sugar Hole is it's a literal hole in the wall as you're walking down a sidewalk. It'll say the Sugar Hole above, and what it is ice cream, but you go up and the person who is getting the money and taking your order is a puppet.
Dude, I saw this on TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
Oh, it's so, and they have so many different types of puppets. They have like a surfer bro frog. They have like a nice, like kind of slow talking polar bear. That's who I had first. And it just, I love puppets so much. And when you walk there and you talk to a puppet, like suspension of disbelief goes out the window. You're not talking to somebody, like some stranger. You're talking to the puppet. You're talking to this bear. And this bear wants your money because like when you hand him the money, he goes, And
That's so cute.
And then they have the staff that walks out and like hands you the ice cream. But it's so just that inner child moment of like letting your inner child heal and letting them play a little bit. Like, I'm talking to the polar bear, I'm talking to the surfer, and I love the logo of this shirt.
Yeah, I was looking. I was like, what? And now it makes sense.
Yeah, it's a puppet, and I saw it's all handmade. It's a DIY thing. It's so
nice.
It's such a great feeling. I have some footage. I'll send to you, and like we'll put some pictures up on the Instagram. But I really just wanted to like showcase that because it's such a heartwarming thing to just like enjoy, and it's ice cream, and it makes you feel like a kid again. I just really enjoyed it.
I think it's imperative that whimsy is a part of everybody's life, and that's very whimsical.
I love whimsy. Like my partner says, whimsy could be my middle name because I love it so much.
That would be a good middle name.
It would. I'm between whimsy and attention, so one of those.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh so loud into the microphone.
No, I appreciated it.
Oh, shit, dude. How's the ice cream?
Oh, it's really good. Yeah. It's really good. They have a bunch of different flavors. And
what's your favorite flavor?
Cookies and cream. And always like that's
solid.
It's just a solid
Classic.
choice everywhere.
I'm scared to ask. Is it reasonably priced?
It's Chicago.
I would honestly what do you say is reasonably priced nowadays?
Like Paula and 5 kids, $10.50.
For yourself, yeah.
I was gonna say like $5 to me is reasonable per person.
I would say like I can't remember the exact price, but I think it's around there.
Okay,
I don't
that's
think it's
not
like
bad.
I don't think you're walking up and it's like we're in the loop of Chicago and all of a sudden from New York. I don't know why this accent came. I don't know how to do.
I'm selling ice cream with a puppet over here.
I don't know how to do a Chicago accent.
It's a lot of vowels. It's more in the vowels. Like the ands.
To me, a Chicago accent is just like, give me your taxes and we won't fix this pothole.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My brother Jack took a picture of the pothole picture that goes around the internet that's shaped like Illinois. I don't know if I'm on this podcast, but it's his claim to fame.
You've mentioned it to me, and I am still jealous of it.
I was aware of the fact, but no, I think this is a podcast exclusive. We're breaking it right here.
Nice.
One day
So
we
if
will.
you see a pothole on the internet that's shaped like the state of Illinois, my brother Jack, he posted. I was going to say his last name.
Yeah, I was
not
like,
gonna
no
do that.
last name needed.
I just saw Tim just go, don't, no.
I would have edited it out
Yeah.
anyways.
And when Jack comes on the podcast, all of you fans of his could ask him questions like,
I would love to meet the fans of Jack just by hearing about him.
"What's your favorite movie, fans of Jack? Is it?"
Jack with Robin Williams.
I forgot Jack's favorite movie. It's the animated one.
No, it's Eraserhead. I think, is that what he's...
No, what was the one that he always makes you watch?
That he makes
The animated one.
Oh, specifically for like Halloween season,
That's
the
right.
Headless Horseman,
That's right.
the animated Disney.
All right.
All right,
Nice.
Tim, what's your creative corner?
Well, I have a semi-relevant creative corner.
I'm so glad you finished that. You definitely paused way too long after semi.
I
I was like, I have a semi or
I have
have
a
a
truck.
I have a semi for this
full-on
creative corner.
rock hard creative corner.
Sorry, I'm 12 years old.
She's
I'm
just
29.
a baby.
I'm just a baby.
I'm
Don't call me
29
mine.
and a pervert. Continue.
So there's a band that I have listened to a lot, and as a matter of fact, there's a very good reason I used to listen to it a lot. It's very upbeat, and it's very good, and I enjoy them a lot. I am probably not saying the name right because it's a French name, but I always say Lemaitre, but again, it's French, so it's probably something like I'm completely wrong, but it's Lemaitre. It's a duo. It's two guys, and they are more DJs or whatever, but they have a lot of like guest vocalists come on, and their songs are just very upbeat. They're very catchy. They're very popular, and that is I need to be put into a good mood, so I will listen to this kind of music. The reason it is kind of a bittersweet thing for me is in 2019, in the before times, so before I even knew you two, your boy was going through it. He was going through a lot, and this band, it was where I would turn to all day. I mean, they have so many good songs, and they're very upbeat. I really do want to play some for you after we get done. But it was like my go-to when I needed to be put in a good mood. And then that Spotify, like, oh, here's how much you listen to this, and you're in
The
top.
Wrapped.
Yes. And this band, multiple songs on Spotify with like multiple millions of listens. And I got a notification that I was in the top 0.01% of listeners.
Oh, real fan.
I was about to stunt on you because I was in the 0.05% for hers, but you got me to the 0.01.
Yes. And I had to reevaluate some things, but it's been a day. I'll just leave it at that. We've been going through some stuff before the podcast started as far as some technical issues that put me in a place. And I was thinking simultaneously that I do need a mood booster, and I need to do more music creative corners. And I think that's where these two roads cross. So again, Lemaitre is how I pronounce it. You can find them on Spotify. They have songs that you hear them and you're like, this sounds so familiar. It's very upbeat and poppy. But yeah, that's my go-to sad boy music.
Do you have a specific song you'd recommend for people to start out with?
I guess I can pull up their Spotify and double check. Like I said, they have multiple songs that are multiple millions of listens. I found them because they used to have a song at the end of some random YouTuber I listened to.
Critical.
No. He doesn't make videos anymore. I forgot his name. Slazo? The song that was at the end of his YouTube video is probably the one that I would recommend because it is the first one that I heard from them, and it very much resonates with me, but it's called Not Too Late. And it's a very, like, the chorus and everything is very, like, it's not too late, my friend. Like, pick yourself up, get up again.
Oh, I think you've showed me that song.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Is that on Spotify? Like, or
Oh,
do
yeah.
you use Spotify?
Ish. Yeah.
Because I know you use Apple Music.
Don't put me on blast
I'm
like
sorry.
that, man.
I know you use not Spotify.
I use Apple Music like an old person.
But there's something I've been doing with like friends of mine, like where you connect them and you can mix a playlist together with like songs that you both really enjoy.
See, that's why I kind of do want to get a Spotify account just for that kind of stuff.
If enough people get to, and we do like a family one, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, if like I have my own right now, so if we wanted to do a family, we could all like chip in and do something like that. That'd be cool. But I did want to do a mix because like I did one with Adrian at one point, and God, Adrian's musical style is so much different than mine. It's crazy, but I found some really good hits, and I'd love to see what like all of our styles clashing go together.
I always wanted to do like a friend road trip where we all add music to a playlist equally. And then on the road trip we guess who picked what song.
See, that's so fun. That's so fun. Yeah. I would love to do that, yeah.
Next time we go on
next time, baby.
Hell yeah. Well, you guys ready to jump into this?
Yes, I am.
The first episode of season number 2. And no squiggle vision.
No squiggle vision. It's
Thoughts?
weird.
What is it? How did you feel?
So, I have thoughts.
Yeah, please.
I appreciate the cleaner look. There was a little bit of the squiggle vision never bothered me. I'll be honest. They had like a 90s charm to it that I appreciated.
Sure.
So in that aspect, I kind of miss the squiggle vision. But this one, it's a little bit cleaner, and it almost gives me like old internet vibes. You know what I mean? Like old YouTube,
Sure.
old like funny.com type situation.
It was Flash animation,
Yeah.
so
Like
yeah,
Frog
absolutely.
in the blender. Yeah.
So I like that you can see like the clear evolution of the time. So that was me. That's me talking about it.
I mean, I'm not sure. Have you ever seen or heard of the show The Critic?
Yeah, yeah.
So I really liked The Critic. It did remind me of the home movie style.
It stinks.
Sorry. I love the show. It's really funny. It really upset me that it didn't get picked up for like another season. But they did do like web episodes that had the same type of style of this, like the kind of vector, like very clean cut, very like of the time computer vibes. Hated it. I really hated it. It just didn't fit the vibe. It didn't fit the vibe, especially of The Critic when you're going from like a Hey Arnold-esque animation to
I feel that.
But this, I do think it's a lot cleaner. I do think it's an upgrade of some sorts. But like throughout my notes, I was like, how do I feel about this animation? Because I don't know.
It is only the first episode with this animation.
It is, and there's some things there that I'm honestly missing a little bit.
You're missing the squiggle vision.
But I think there's some not like first 5 episodes squiggle vision.
Yeah.
But like there's some like charm to it. Like Ed and Eddie had squiggle vision like charm, which is really good. But jury's still out. We'll figure it out.
This is just the first episode.
Right.
With
Yeah.
them, so.
I will say that the transitions, they're way more detailed.
Oh yeah.
The transitions
Like
are
the
getting
zoom
better.
ins, the just overall,
Yeah.
and I really appreciated that.
And characters are more animated.
Yes.
When they talk, they're moving around more, they're crossing their arms. There's just more animation going on.
I'm interested to see when we are all done with this, like season 4, last episode, if we go back and watch any episodes from season 1, if it almost feels jarring again.
Right.
Because we're so used to, we're gonna get used to this animation.
By that time, we'll have 3 seasons
Yeah.
under our belts.
Should we like on the last episode go back to the first episode and watch that?
I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. There's some things about this episode. We'll get into it, but like I don't know how I feel about it. It's just so we'll get into it once we like officially jump into it. But
Well,
like
I think we need to address the elephant of the room.
that's probably a good.
Because
yep.
okay,
How did season 1?
season 1 ended with Brendan picking up the phone, and I watched the episode with Tim before we even like recorded for the podcast, and Tim told me that episode 1, season 2, they do not address it at all. And I go, what? And then there's a beat, and I was like, don't tell Marcin. I was like, don't tell him. I want to know what he thinks.
I was so like upset, honestly, watching this episode. For many reasons, obviously, but because last time we watched it together, you told me, because I was going to take the Adele method of watch the episodes before I come here and then watch them again and take notes. And you told me for the next episode, don't do that. And I was like, okay. So that means
That was Purely because I told him not to tell you.
So I was so ready for some closure. My favorite thing in TV shows, closure.
I think at one point you even confirmed, like, wait, this was episode 1 of season 2, right?
I asked that 3 times because I was like, maybe he clicked on the wrong episode. There's got to be some like, come on.
So I will tell you, we will get closure on the end of season 1, but yes, it's not in the first episode of season 2.
That's fair. You know, that's fair.
You just gotta wait.
I
know how to
wonder,
do, baby.
I wonder, because there was so much uncertainty between seasons, if they were getting picked up, that when they did, they said, okay, are we going to address this right away? Are we going to give it, what's the plan here? I don't know the reason why they chose not to address it in the first episode. Maybe that last episode was very heavy. Maybe they're like, let's get a few light ones in before we dive back into that. I mean, who knows?
And this was a light one.
Was it?
I feel like this was.
I
a
think
light
so.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like this. You made me second guess myself. I was like, "Holy shit!" The expert just asked me.
I have made it a point absolutely to never call myself an expert because I feel like that very much leaves me open to. Excuse me, Mr. Expert.
Actually,
but you said that. Whatever. But no, I made sure to always say I'm obsessed with home movies. Always. I always know that there's more I can learn about this. Let's jump into this episode. So this episode, like many others in season 1, we just open with a panning to the school. Or does it? We hear a crash. We pan over Shannon. Were you excited to see Shannon was in this episode?
I honestly, I could not remember because there's a lot of times I've asked like the room, like, hey, do you think this character comes back? And then like the non-expert over here is like, no, they don't come back. And so I'm like, oh God, where's Shannon? Where's those characters? Then a crash. I was like, oh, there's Shannon. But they played him up as like a lot scarier this time around. I was very surprised about that because everyone liked him a lot. Even though he was a bully, everyone was like, oh no, we love Shannon.
Yeah, everybody showed up to his birthday party.
Yeah.
And he was like polite. He was like a polite bully.
Yeah.
You know?
And now he's here and he's like
he was more bully than polite.
He wasn't even just bully, he was like criminal. He's like,
Yeah. So I'm going to pretend that because in The Art of the Sucker Punch, I think I even mentioned it when after they get in the fight, Melissa talks about like Brendan's like, he doesn't even go to this school. And Melissa's like, yeah, so everyone at this school knows it because of you. Everyone at his school knows it because of him.
Bro, I didn't even think of that.
Right. So I'm just going to say at some point between that episode and this one, they moved or he changed schools or something.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, actually, because I already did that because in, I think the very first episode, Shannon's on his soccer team. And then a few episodes later, he's getting into a fight and he's at a different school. So
that's true.
I'm not going to deconstruct it that much, but I just will say that, yes, as it appears from here on out, Shannon goes to the same school as Brendan.
He might be so much of a bully that they like kick him out of schools.
There you go. There's the canon right there.
I love
he got
headcanon.
kicked out of that last school and now he's stuck in this one.
It fits.
So Shannon's breaking into what I assume is Mr. Lynch's car, going through the CD collection and ultimately stealing his Frank Sinatra CDs.
Boring.
You don't like Frank Sinatra?
Yeah, for like 2 songs. Name the 2 big ones. Fly Me to the Moon, and then like My Way.
Chicago.
Yeah, that's the name of a city.
And then there's one, he has a song like about witch.
What was the name
It's witchcraft.
Nice.
That's my Frank Sinatra impression.
of it? Here's my Frank Sinatra impression. I'm a racist.
Is he?
Maybe.
I know
Probably.
nothing of him except for his music.
He was part of the mafia. I know he was a big member of the mafia. Yeah, he had mafia ties.
I know nothing about old Blue Eyes, chairman of the board. Shannon takes a bunch of the Sinatra CDs. So now we cut to Brendan, Jason, and Melissa. We're sitting in Brendan's basement while Brendan and Melissa come up with political slogans for Brendan's run for president. Melissa's first slogan, I will say, a little wordy. You snooze, you lose, so don't sleep on this election. Vote for Brendan Small for president of the student council.
I think that was a good slogan.
I think it's a good slogan in a speech, but I think we're looking for poster type slogans.
Yeah.
What's the best slogan? Like, can you think of the best slogan?
I'm not going to lie. I think the best slogan is what Jason says in about a minute and a half
Yeah.
from now.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
So Brennan points out slogans are better when they're shorter. So I like Ike,
Nixon had a pretty good one.
Tricky Dick. No, that was just his nickname. So Melissa's like, okay, let's take another crack at it. Vote for Brendan Small for student government president because no job is too big for the boy they call Small. Brendan Small, that is, for president of the student council.
It's a mouthful.
Just like Tricky Dick.
So I think Brendan realizes the slogans aren't quite there yet. So he focuses his attention to Jason, who's working on a campaign poster. Jason holds up the poster and he drew a train and a picture of his mother. Little note at the bottom says, Jason rules.
I was interested. Is that what his mom looks like? Ah, he smiled.
Shit. Do we
the
meet
non-expert
Jason's mom?
smiled.
I really hope this isn't one of those things where I say something and then like 2.5 seasons later, I'm like, shit,
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm going to say it.
I've met Jason's mother several times.
Yeah. We all assume.
When? Where? Do you have a thing with Jason's mom?
That's
That's why you hate him.
Yeah, it's just a funny joke over here. I'm too busy looking up Richard Nixon's slogan because it's going to kill me.
I am not a crook. That was his slogan.
It was like, Nixon's the one.
Yeah,
And
that's
then-
what Brendan says. Nixon's the one and I like Ike.
Ah, gotcha.
I like Ike.
And then there was Nixon Now in 72.
Melissa asked Jason how this is going to help Brendan get elected. And Jason replies like, I don't know. But Brendan is like so encouraging. He's like, all right, well, either way, looks great, buddy.
Yeah.
At this
real
point,
friend.
Jason recommends the slogan, think big, vote small.
That slaps.
It really did.
It's so good.
And their reaction to it,
It's like,
rude.
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the way that Jason has always reacted to them being excited about something kind of warrants the same reaction. Like, you remember the fish islands? You remember how
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. They just don't want to be on Jason's side.
I know I don't.
Well, maybe they're just jealous that he came out with that banger while he's just sitting there drawing trains and his mom and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'll give him props. It was a good slogan. It's still a good slogan.
And not to jump ahead, but
He uses it.
the poster that he was drawing was just the train and his mom. They put it up on the school.
Oh, that was up. It's actually up in the background of the next scene. And during his recorded speech, his campaign speech, he uses it at the end. He says, think big, vote small.
It's a good slogan, but I love how no one acknowledges. No one goes up to Jason and goes, "Good job, bud. Nice." I just love that.
He got more props for his poster than
Yeah,
he
he-
did for that just S-tier slogan.
Yeah.
I just want to cut back to that one episode when he needed to get interviewed for the documentary of the fight, and Jason's like, "Thank you."
After they had a huge fight about it.
Yeah.
I hope he throws me on the ball like he threw me on the ball. The next scene, Brendan is talking to current student president Thurman Thackeray, who is running for re-election. He talks about the playground issue being his, quote, Waterloo, mentioned something about securing his legacy. I don't think Brendan really understood most of what he was saying, because Brendan is just like making jokes. He's like, I tried to secure my legacy once and it got away.
That's usually how I react to any conversation. I don't know how. I don't know what to say. Yeah, well, joke time,
And it got away.
and it got away.
And then he asks about a 3 legacy race. In the background, we do see the poster that Jason made hung up on the walls, so that's nice.
Is that the one that falls down?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's something I want to talk about, the animation, not things moving in the background. That was a big hurdle.
Yeah.
It's like, look at that. There it goes. Also, Thackeray's character design is I think the most detailed of the character designs we've seen.
Yeah, he even had like pimples.
He was the one I drew because I expected it was, this is a brand new character. This is like detailed like design. We'll see plenty of this guy. And it's like, nah.
Twice.
Yeah.
3 times.
I doubt he comes up later in the series.
So Thurman mentions that he has run unopposed the last 3 elections, and then he makes a comment about beating the pants off Brendan. So Brendan says he won't even bother wearing pants then.
He never does. He's wearing pajamas.
Yeah.
Thurman tells him not to cry when he loses, and Brendan replies by saying one more thing.
Yeah, Thurman's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Again, with the more anime characters, as he's doing that, spit's flying in his face. He's like flailing his arms all over the place.
I love how fast it was too, because it was like half a second and then cut.
So the next scene, we're at Roth University, which is apparently where Paula teaches creative writing class. She's explaining to the class that adjectives are great, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 adjectives in a row to describe some little red boat. And then one of the students is quickly like, it's a big green boat. So at this point, one of the students raises her hands and asks if they can take a break. Paula gives pushback right away, kind of saying that she was hoping they would get through more of the papers before they start their break. But another student asks, and then before you know it, the entire class is asking if they can take a break. Yeah, that's the scene where like, come on. And, you know, everyone's like, please, come on, please. Please. Finally, Paula kind of loses it.
Wouldn't you? Honest to God, wouldn't you?
Yeah, she makes a comment about all they do is whine, and she knows that some people are using these breaks to go smoke cigarettes, and they really should quit. So finally she buckles and says, fine, take your break, but just remember, I'll be damned if I waste my time on a bunch of smokers. It's at this point the entire class yells surprise, and somebody walks in with a bouquet of flowers and informs Paula that she just won the Nicest Teacher of the Month award.
Aww.
I believe it was the best teacher of the year.
No. So Paula seems genuinely surprised, but slowly realizes that she just yelled at a class full of students who were just trying to get a break so they could award her with Nicest Teacher of the Month.
I wanted to ask you, have you ever had I'm sure you have. Have you ever had like that teacher just snap? Like, have you ever been in the room when your teacher just finally
absolutely, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where they finally just like, all right, like I've been nice this entire time, and then like this was the straw.
You know what's bad? The one time that happened was in high school. She like flipped out, and then immediately after she was done, everybody started laughing. Yeah.
Oh, that's the Vine. Shut the hell up! Shut the hell up!
Yeah, she slammed the book down and like started screaming, and then when she was done, everybody just like there was like a beat, and then everybody just busted out laughing. I didn't, because I didn't give a but I was like, damn.
I saw the nicest, most soft-spoken choir teacher throw a chair across the room.
Nice.
Because the same student constantly brought peanuts to homeroom, maybe?
Homeroom, yeah.
Yeah.
First period, homeroom.
Yeah.
Passing period. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, ours was like in between first period and second period. It was like a 10, 15-minute block where they'd announce shit.
Oh, okay.
And we had and homeroom was just alphabetical. And this one kid constantly brought food in there. And the teacher always told, don't be. And then one day he's Dave! And just whips a chair. We're like, oh.
I love the idea that it's just like very quiet announcement's going on, and just like you hear the rapper just
Dave!
Did he bring food after that, or was he done?
I think at that point he stopped bringing food.
I think that's the point. There was one teacher she was so sweet, and she's like, I want to show you a movie from my childhood. It's my favorite movie so much. And she like brought in the VHS. She turned on Never-Ending Story.
Never-Ending Story.
Which it's a beautiful movie about like growing up and people giving up on their dreams, and that creates nothingness, and like so good.
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan of that?
Controversial, not a fan.
We need to talk about this movie on rewatching some movies.
Yeah.
But we didn't finish the movie because like the little jokers were talking the entire time, making fun of the movie. You know those people you can't take to a movie without them making fun of the entire plot, even though it's not that funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at one point, Falcor is talking.
Who sounds very horny, by the way, if you watch the movie.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, Falcor is like talking to the kid after he saves him, and he's the kid's like, "You're gonna eat me?" He's like, "I like children."
Dude, we're not gonna get into it.
I know, but like kids started laughing, obviously pointing out the sexual innuendo, and the teacher was so upset that they were ruining her childhood that's enough. And she like took out the VHS. You don't deserve this.
And that's why I'm not having kids.
She was so upset we did not get to. I was so invested in the movie. Fuck him! I was so pissed. It was it was my bully that was doing it too.
Did you ever finish the movie?
Yeah, I obviously later when I bought it, and I like also at that time I had watched it several times, but I was like, I'm watching it at school. This is different.
Anyway, so the following scene, we have Jason taping a poster to the door that says closed set. It appears Brendan's filming a political commercial. He's telling Melissa to just have the camera point up to make him look taller. He makes a comment about like all the good politicians are tall like Abraham Lincoln, and Jason actually pushes back and he's like, no, just his hat was tall. Like when he took it off, he was actually a little person.
No, he didn't
did not
say
little person.
Okay. I just wanted to...
You shouldn't say what he said is what we're saying.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about taking him down a grade because of that, but like he's 8. Like,
Yeah.
And this was 2001. I'm not
they thought that was
trying to justify
progressive at the
anything.
time,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Melissa asked Brendan what his platform is going to be, and Jason recommends this box. She said, no, his political platform. And Brendan's like, no, I think he's right. I think I'm going to use this box.
Honestly, that is my humor.
So she just says, forget it. Let's get started. She calls action, and Brendan's like, no. Unable to fully hand over control, he's like, no, I call action. And they go back and forth a few times while Jason just kind of watches like a tennis match. So Brendan begins a speech and tells his classmates that it's time to move into the next millennium, even though at this point they kind of already did. But they should be at a point where they should be able to make informative videos instead of forcing kids to read books. So classic Brendan, anytime he can get out of a written project or anything to do in lieu of a video, he'll do it. So that's kind of his platform is, hey, books can hurt your eyes. We see a little bit with Dr. Melissa is giving Jason an eye exam, and Jason's like, I can't read anymore because it hurts my eyes. And Melissa's like, well, you've been reading too much and you'll need to wear glasses and people are going to make fun of you and call you Four Eyes an idiot.
Then I won't wear glasses and I'll never read again.
And then she says,
then they'll just call you idiot. But did you notice when she's like, yeah, people will make fun of you and call you Four Eyes an idiot? She's holding a picture of Thurman Thackeray.
yeah, I
Like
did
Brendan's
notice that.
opponent.
Yeah.
And like basically being like,
Subliminal messaging.
yeah,
I mean,
call
this
you
is-
Four Eyes an idiot.
This is how political ads work.
Right. Jason inquires about, I think this was like a kind of a typical in the early 2000s when LASIK eye surgery kind of became a thing. Everybody just called it laser eye surgery. I mean, it did involve a laser, but I feel like at any rate, Melissa...
I mean, it's false advertising, especially when you're a kid hearing about it.
Right.
Like, I get laser eyes?
Nope.
So Jason inquires about laser eye surgery, and Melissa says that's fine, as long as you don't mind growing an extra arm. And for like a split second, Jason's like, oh, that doesn't sound too bad. And she's like, out of your eye! And he's like, oh, no!
I loved all the eye close-ups.
Yeah.
Did you like it when it zoomed in on Brendan's eye and it was like moving around?
Yeah.
It was like, oh,
Yeah.
they're really stretching the budget this time.
So we cut to Dr. Melissa with her patient Jason, who has 2 eye patches on. And Dr. Melissa says, instead of reading about history, just watch a video about it. That way you learn at the same time, your eyes won't go bad. So this is another classic. We pull back to reveal this is a political commercial that's playing in the library. Shannon, you see kind of just the top half of Shannon, and he's makes a comment about how that's actually not a bad idea. And then he's kind of like, what do you think? And it pulls back, and he's got a kid in a wrestling move.
That was the crippler crossface.
Oh, I'm sure that's exactly
No,
what they were going for.
I'll show you exactly.
Fact check him. Fact check him.
No,
That,
we're
that
not
was
doing
he
this.
had it crippler crossface right across his face.
I, as the wrestling expert on this podcast, I will take your word for it.
Well, I don't want people to call me an expert.
Well, too bad, bucko.
Too bad, fucker.
I thought you say fucko.
Too bad, fucko.
I wrote it down too. Shannon crippler crossface. The thing
Fucking
about
nerd.
the thing I liked about the animation is that after you see Thackeray and Brendan looking at each other, and then in the background on the TV you see Brendan looking back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they do that a lot. There's so much that goes on in the background. So always keep an eye open for that. At the end of Brendan's speech, he says, think big, vote small. And then quickly mumbles, don't vote for Thurman. The scene ends with Thurman angrily staring at Brendan, as he looks up with a slight little yeah, innocent like little who me.
Smirking it up.
So the next scene, we're at soccer practice. Coach is surrounded by kids on the field. He asks them how many showed up to practice last night and waited for him in the pouring rain. We see most of their hands go up.
And you hear a sneeze.
One of the kids sneezes. He says, Gesundheit. And he says, good. I didn't make it because I was out very late the night before. Melissa almost immediately asks what he was doing, and Coach, shuts her down. He's like, end of questions, end of story, that's it. And she's like, what were you doing? And then immediately starts treating her as a heckler.
She was really insecure, too.
Well, she's not at a comedy show. She's an 8-year-old at soccer practice, trying to wonder why she just stood in the rain, waiting for her coach who never showed up.
Poor Melissa.
That's fair.
Brendan sticks up for her. True friend.
Oh, he's very like, Coach, don't. Because he's, immediately, the first thing he says is he should remove his brain so they could start as equals. And Melissa is a very defensive, like, hey. Then he roasts her outfit, saying a motel's missing a shower curtain somewhere.
And she grabs at it. She's like, what?
Yeah, and Brendan's trying to get Coach to lay off. He said, who does your hair, Picasso?
I thought that was funny.
My dad.
Who's your dad, Picasso? So at this point, Brendan kind of points out Melissa wasn't heckling, and Coach is like, okay, we have stereo hecklers, folks. Makes a comment about, hey, Brendan, I don't go down to your job and pee on the bus seats while you're trying to clean them.
Okay, go for it.
And Brendan's like, what are you talking about? So that's when we kind of cut to the next scene, and Brendan's talking to Coach McGurk, specifically asking him, you're doing stand-up comedy now? Brendan seems genuinely surprised. He even comments, you're not even funny. Coach takes a little offense to that, claims, no, people around here tell me I'm funny all the time, that I should try stand-up. Brendan doesn't, he's not buying it.
I did want to ask you, as someone who runs an open mic, how many times does a McGurk show up on stage?
Every week.
Yeah, basically. We'll get into that more when we get to that scene.
He's grabbing at his forehead, his frontal lobe, folks.
I literally started getting a headache when you even kind of presented that question. I'm just like, oh.
The telepathic link of me.
I'll never name names on this podcast, but I was telling Adele that last week a comedian did a Catholic rap against Protestants.
Got him.
That sounds hilarious.
Sticking it to the Protestants.
But it wasn't even a so bad. It was funny, hilarious. And then every comedian after that's like, you got me. I'm converted. I'm convinced now. Coach mentions this is a good way to get things off of his chest. He holds on to a lot of anger, and that's the best way to release it. He basically explains that he gets drunk in his apartment and yells things, and this is his way to bring that onto a stage. So Brendan asks about his actual job, coaching soccer, and Coach mentions, hey, if stand-up takes off, I won't even need soccer, even though I am kind of advertising myself as the soccer comic.
Honestly, I love the tagline. I love it being the soccer comic.
You're his number one fan over here.
We'll get into it, but I was really surprised.
I don't know if you saw the number of side eyes I gave you when you're like, but that's not even a bad joke.
I was like, we'll get into this. Listen, I know you run an open mic, but I probably would have laughed at that. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Coach paints Brendan the picture of him going up on stage. He's got the soccer uniform, the whistle. He's holding a soccer ball, setting up a goal. He even asked Brendan, yeah, that's funny, right? And Brendan's like, yeah, I'd have to see it. Coach says it's the whole point. It's out of the element. That's what makes it funny. That's what makes people laugh. And Brendan asks him, did they? And he's like, yeah, at first. And Brendan's like, what happened? He's like, then I told jokes. And they stopped laughing. Honestly, you got to start somewhere.
That would have made me laugh if he started coming. He's setting up the goal. That's funny.
The next scene, Shannon comes marching up to Brendan. He's singing the presidential Brendan. He salutes him, calls him future President Brendan. Brendan seems a little shocked to be approached by Shannon like this, and he asks what he wants. Shannon tells him, hey, I'm just coming by to wish you luck tomorrow. I think that you will, quote, beat Thurman Thackeray like I would. Brendan shows some appreciation, but he isn't very confident that he's going to win the election. And that's when Shannon tells him, you need to have more confidence. He even tells him, mark my words, you're going to win that election. And when you do, I'll be there.
I didn't know what he meant by that, but I did write down, Shannon will be there.
Brendan does seem a little put off by this and literally is like, I'm going to walk away now. And like slowly walks backwards out of the decent walk cycle. The animation is nice.
We got to keep thinking about that animation. It's a couple episodes ago, they would have faded away.
Yep.
Yeah. So the next scene opens. We're at the small residence. Brendan is talking to his mom at the dinner table, but there's a large bouquet of flowers in between them. Brendan asks if they can move the flowers to the other side of the city. Paula says no, she likes them there. That's where they're staying. Brendan confesses that the election is the next day. He's worried he's going to get humiliated. Paula, pretty distracted by the flowers, says it doesn't matter that you're going to be humiliated. All that matters is the whole school's going to be there.
That part got me.
Just completely missing the point.
Yeah. Like Paula is such she's normally such like a rock solid mom, like super supportive, and that get some flowers in front of her and she's like, nope, don't care about anything else.
I had this issue at first because I was like, you know what? Paula does always usually come in clutch as like a good mom. What this tells me, because thinking about it, I think that Paula is underappreciated, and I think she feels it. She's got these flowers now, and she's like, you know what? Like she feels like happy for what she wants to live in this moment. Like she's got a little bit of appreciation here.
Do you think when she freaked out on the students, she was like projecting a little bit because like, you know, nobody appreciates her in life?
100%.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those cases of like Paula just needs a little bit. She gets a little bit, and now she wants a lot of it.
Yeah, because she was not on her A game today.
No.
And as a matter of fact, at this point, she's so hyper fixated on the flowers. She's like wondering the cost. She predicts that the flowers were at least $60 because the ones she sent her Aunt Faye when she was mauled by that bear were $50. And these ones are way nicer. Brendan kind of loses his cool at this point and tells his mom, forget about the damn flowers.
Watch your language.
Yeah, she tells him not to cuss, and then there's kind of a beat, and she's like, Brendan, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, all I see is flowers.
Did you notice before Brendan popped off, they like zoomed in on his face?
Yeah.
And just like all these little like adjustments, it just makes it so much more dynamic. And
Absolutely.
like almost like it's a different show almost.
Oh, this next transition in the next scene is actually the one that I was like, wow, like really taken aback. Like this is such a night and day thing.
So after that, we find Brendan. He's at school.
This
Where-
transition, like
The entering the school.
entering the school all the way through right to where Brendan's walking up.
It actually reminds me a little bit. The opening transition of the next episode has a very similar vibe, and it's same thing. It's like so much. It's not like, oh, here's a school, let's go. It's like, here's a school, let's zoom in, front door open, down the hall, make a turn over. You know, it's. I mean, they're definitely getting the animation down. So again, we're at school. Brendan notices a large crowd of people are huddled around. It looks like a corkboard, maybe. He runs into Melissa, and he's kind of like, what's going on? And Melissa excitedly tells him, Brendan, you won. You're the president. Brendan throws his arms in the air and falls to his knees in victory. Thurman approaches and congratulates him, but Brendan kind of clocks that Thurman has a black eye. It looks like his arm is in a sling, but is still like, hey, Thurman Thackeray, everyone. He lost. I won, and I'm president.
Thackeray looks so sad too. He's like, yeah, you won.
Yeah.
He looks scared.
Big hit to his ego.
Right. Well, he ran unopposed for 3 years. So now he finally has an opponent, but he, in his head, he's probably like, they've had me 3 years. They already know. They know I'm the man for the job. So I think it was a little bit of a bruise to his ego.
Wait, how old is he?
I was just thinking that because like he's so much taller than Brendan.
I have to assume, I mean, they would be what they're like 7, 8, so they'd be like grade school. Whatever school they're in, whatever like the grade range in, I just think Thurman is like the last year, whatever it is. So if it goes to like 8th grader, I feel like he's an 8th grader versus Brendan 5th grader.
My elementary school had 4 grades, 1 through 4, and then 7, 8, 5, 6 was a different school, and then 7, 8 was a different school. So I know you.
I was in the same school from kindergarten to 8th grade.
That sounds insane.
It was a big school.
Yeah.
Big school.
I did grade school, then junior high, then high school. After I was done, they split it up a little bit more. But yeah, what was it? 7th, 8th grade was the junior high school. Oh, so now at this point, Shannon approaches, and Thurman very sheepishly kind of just exits stage left. He's like, okay, I'm out of here. Shannon congratulates Brendan, and he tells him, you're going to make a great president. Shannon even makes an offhanded remark like, see, I told you I was going to win. And the gears are moving in Brendan's brain because he's like, did say that. Thurman's looks beat up. He won the presidency. Shannon was so sure of it. So, yeah, Brendan's starting to piece some things together. Shannon tells him, hey, I was here from the beginning, so I would like a spot in your inner circle. At this point, Melissa has approached Brendan, and she whispers to Brendan, no, Brendan, you tell Shannon he's nothing but a troublemaking bully, and we don't need that kind of riffraff on our staff.
That's very good. Also, they were so nice to Shannon in the beginning. They used to like Shannon.
Yeah.
Shannon liked Melissa.
Maybe he's gotten worse since that episode as far as the bullying. Because, there's obviously, I think it's the next scene, where it's like a montage.
Yeah, very next scene. Yeah.
I would actually like to pull up that for the clip. Because,
yeah, we can do that.
Okay, yeah. I do remember one of the jokes being like, Melissa can bring your camera. It's actually my camera. Melissa can bring your camera.
Yeah, it's the way he always wanted Melissa there. I thought he had a crush on Melissa in that first episode he was in.
In the first episode, it definitely seemed like he did. I don't know what's happened since then.
A lot has happened since then.
The animation has changed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a whole different timeline.
But Melissa lays it down. She's like, Brendan, you tell him we don't need somebody like him on our staff. And Brendan assures Melissa, hey, I'll handle it. Let me just put it into my own words. So Melissa tells him, yeah, you handle it. And so as he begins to tell Shannon crushes a soda can. Brendan's face changes dramatically before saying, welcome aboard, my friend.
Weak sauce.
I'm not sure how well this is going to play, just being kind of an audio montage.
Let's commentate on it like wrestling commentators.
So this is a Shannon montage. We're going to start with a random kid in a locker.
Looks like the mascot of Kermit the Frog getting slammed in. His eyes dilated.
Yeah, his pupils dilated. He breaks into a stock room. He's got a computer.
Gives it to
a shady trench-coated man.
It's Deep Throat. It throws a bunch of money. Pantses everyone. Wedgie's the same kid. Oh my God.
Traps him. That's an atomic bomb.
No, that's a tombstone. As Shannon, he was here, dunks a bunch of kids.
I really like that the music, and then as that fades out, Shannon's still kind of strutting down the hallway, and he's whistling the tune.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nice.
And now he's just pointing right at Mr. Lynch's stupid pencil mustache.
Looks like he's about to pick his nose.
There is no nose.
So he does run into Mr. Lynch in the hallway. Mr. Lynch asks him, what is he doing in the hallway during class time? And Shannon immediately turns it around. What are you doing in the hallway during class time?
You're good at that.
I really like Emo Phillips. So that goes back and forth a couple times. And then finally Mr. Lynch admits that his students locked him out of his class. So he asks Shannon one last time what he's doing in the hallway. And Shannon responds he's doing official student government business. Flatfoot. So Mr. Lynch asks for a hall pass, and Shannon presents one from Brendan that basically says, leave him alone. Mr. Lynch says, okay, everything seems to be in order. But Shannon, we know you're the one that broke into those cars. And more importantly, I know you stole my CDs. Mr. Lynch makes a comment about personally losing all of his Frank Sinatra. And Shannon makes a comment that he loves old blue eye. And Mr. Lynch says, good, Shannon, because I'll be keeping an old blue eye on you. Big open blue eye. And Shannon even says, that's gross. Mr. Lynch is like, yeah, Shannon, that is gross. So Shannon walks away as the bell rings, and Melissa and Brendan are walking out of class together. Mr. Lynch asks Brendan if he could see him for a moment. And Brendan immediately turns around, can I see you for a moment? They share a little,
I love that exchange. Went from like admiration to very sad.
Yeah.
I actually like Mr. Lynch as a character a lot.
Yeah,
I do too. Mr. Lynch confronts Brendan, saying, hey, there are rumors flying around that you and Shannon cheated. You stole the election. And Brendan is like genuinely surprised. Mr. Lynch says Shannon was also the one who stole his chairman of the board collection. Brendan, not quite sure he knows what that means. He makes a comment like, oh, I didn't know you collected those guys. And then Mr. Lynch says, let me be frank with you, Brendan. And Brendan says, Sinatra?
Hey.
So that whole exchange just cracks me up.
My favorite one is what comes up. It's going to be a bit hard to get into film school with.
Yeah, he says keep being associated with Shannon is going to be the sort of thing that keeps you out of a good film school. That and an anonymous letter.
From me.
From me.
He's so angry about it, too.
Yeah. And then, I mean, Was it Brendan and Melissa's class that locked out Mr. Lynch?
Yeah. As they're leaving, he walks
open
right
the door.
back
Yeah.
in.
So now the following scene, we're in Brendan's office, quote unquote. Jason and Melissa are making their case on why they need to get rid of Shannon. I like this part because they're saying that he's all kinds of trouble, calling him all kinds of names, saying he's a bad seed. He's a bad apple. He's a bad apple seed. Like you see Jason kind of smirk and he's like, he's bad apple fritter. Like he's like, let's keep it going.
They're riffing.
It's like the axe thing.
At that point, Shannon comes up and interrupts him. And they're like, we're just talking about you. He's like, nothing about apples, I hope.
I didn't feel like he did enough like of his own emo Phillips voice this episode, but when you repeat it in his voice, I'm like, yeah. It's
Jason and Melissa awkwardly compliment him and then leave. And Brendan is sitting at his desk. He looks pretty confused and upset. The next scene, we're back at the small residence. The flowers on the table are wilted a bit. And Brendan makes a comment about how Shannon is evil, and now by association, he is evil too. And Paula is giving her perspective as someone who just won, quote, best teacher of the year.
That's what I thought she said.
Yeah. Brendan very quickly corrects her, and he's like, nicest teacher of the month.
I love how Brendan is so snappy with her at these like dinner table scenes.
Yeah.
He's going through it right now. He's got a lot. He's holding a lot of power right now.
When he tells her, no, nicest teacher of the month, she's like looking off with like her hand, almost like touching her pearls, like, what? And he's like, nicest teacher of the month, and she's like, yeah, same difference.
She's living for the moment right now. She's trying to live through the appreciation.
So Brendan makes a comment about how he's happy that the flowers are basically almost dead. And that's when we hear the doorbell ring, and it is a fresh flower delivery. So the guy that delivers the flowers, weirdly enough, he does have a name. His name is Ken Adelberg, and I know that because he shows up again.
Does he?
Yeah, he shows up next
random.
episode.
He is also one of the... I don't want to say the worst design, because I think that might actually be a best design, but he's the most disturbing to look at.
His character specifically reminds me more of like South Park.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can see that.
Yeah, his character has a very South Park feel to it. So the next scene...
Wait, what'd you...
I didn't read these names before, the
Yeah.
Ladybird and Patty and Crazy Mike.
Yeah, so we are at...
Sorry.
No, you're fine. We're at the Laugh Damn It Comedy Club.
I love that it's John McGurk, the soccer comic. I love it so
Yes.
much.
Yep, so...
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I really love the Laugh Damn It logo and how the U is the smile.
Yeah, the little happy face.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I really like it.
So yeah, we have your classic comedy brick wall, the Laugh Damn It logo above. We've got 3 portraits on the wall. We've got Jay Bird and Patty. We've got Coach McGurk, the soccer coach. And then we got Crazy Mike.
He's crazy.
He doesn't
So,
look that crazy. He looks
This is
sad.
this is the scene where Coach is doing some stand-up. Guys, let's live my weekly life and give this a listen.
I'm going to talk about it every time I find it funny.
Job McGeek.
Thank you. It's actually McGurk. John McGurk. So how's everybody doing
The
tonight?
typical like pit sweat stained club owner.
I towed my car. Very embarrassing. 'Cause I come to the bank because I see my car on the back of a tow truck. I'm thinking, at least I can afford to get it back.
See, not the best joke, but it's funny. He's working on some stuff.
This appears to be a show, though. This isn't an open mic. This is not where you work on stuff.
Who booked him?
With classical
Great
music
question.
on the radio. When are they going to stop that?
That's
I mean,
funny.
does anybody still listen? No.
That's
Get
funny.
rid of it.
When he's
All
like,
the
does
hands
anyone
go
still
up.
listen? And everyone raises their hands.
When's that from?
Including Tim's.
I mean, there's oldies and then there's oldies.
Match
I don't want
head.
to hear music from
Yeah.
16. All right. What's with these pictures of, missing kids on the milk cartons? I'm eating my cereal in the morning.
Shook your head.
And I see this, missing kid. Thanks for depressing me. It's going to be a good day. I guess I should go look for a missing kid.
The sweat.
That's funny. So a few weeks ago, I was in a hotel room, right? And, hotel rooms offer that porn on television. I order it up, and my mom says, hey, turn that off.
That was funny. That was a funny one. Why are you getting up? That was funny.
She was in the hotel
Dude.
room with me. I was with my mom.
Watching porn with his mom.
Classical music.
How am I doing on time here?
Keep it going.
Keep going. That's it. All right, folks. I've been John McGurk, the soccer.
They turn the lights off on him.
Damn.
I would say typically they would probably just play music over him. Listen.
Get him.
The amount of times I've had to hear a joke that's like, oh, my manager tells me I need to work more. And I'm like, okay, mom. That joke, that format of unexpected mom, that ain't it, Chief.
The unexpected mom.
That ain't doing it for me.
Is that such a trope in stand-up comedy? Is like
I feel like it's a
unexpected
trope
mom?
in new stand-up comedy. I don't know, man. I don't hear veterans doing jokes like that. It's always new comics, and it never fucking works.
Wait a minute. I think you have a mom joke. Or you did at one point. You might have taken it out.
The unexpected mom
The unexpected
joke.
mom joke. Because you're all like, somebody called me, and then one of the towns that we used to live in, Handsome, and then it ended up being your mom.
Oh, I think I used that as a tag once. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. But
I was watching porn at the hotel the other day. My
And
mom's like,
like,
turn it
yeah.
up. That's funny. That was a funny one.
Unexpected?
Honestly, when he was like, my whole idea with certain things, everyone needs a gimmick. That's like my tagline. And so him being a soccer comic is very funny to me.
what was your favorite soccer joke?
Get him. Get him.
My thing is, okay, yeah, you have the gimmick. You're the soccer coach. You bring out this stuff. You got the ball. Not one fucking soccer joke in that entire bit.
Maybe that's the bit.
I think I was more in love with the potential of it. I honestly, because imagine someone like I'm John McGurk, the soccer comic, and then someone heckles you, and he just like holds up a yellow card. Like that's very funny. That'd be a very funny joke.
I was looking. There was more pictures of comedians on the wall, and there was what was it? Matchhead?
Matchhead, and it was just a
picture
photo
of
of
a
a matchstick. And then the last one was a clown, and his name was Clowny.
There's a scene later where they're all at the bar. We'll get into it, but I wanted it because there are definitely references.
That one drove me nuts too.
Yeah.
So, but before that, we have a delightfully awkward scene back at the small residence. Brendan and Paula and Josie are eating at the table with a fresh vase of flowers. Paula asks Brendan if he's all right. He asks if they could move the flowers and have an actual conversation with eye contact. And Paula insists, nope, the flowers stay on the table because my mom never let us have flowers on the table. So they were dirty and carried disease. And that's when Brendan points out, Mom, ants on the table. And Paula immediately, get these dirty flowers out of here, throws them to the ground.
That was the end.
When they first showed the flowers on the table, I don't know why I thought the table was longer. And now seeing it from this angle, it's such a short little table.
Right.
And the flowers are, all up in their faces. I'd be pissed, too.
I mean, I would have been pissed in the first place. Just I don't know how you guys are. I prefer eye contact. I don't know. I understand some people don't like eye contact, but, in a conversation, I want to know that someone's interested. And if I'm literally, if I don't even have the option to look at you in the eyes, it throws me off. One of my pet peeves, I hate talking to someone from the other room. When they get up and walk away, and I'm trying to talk to them, and it's don't worry, keep talking, I can hear you. It's I don't know that. I don't know for a fact. I don't got visual.
So you loved going to confession?
No, I didn't. They made me lie about things because I was 8.
Yeah.
What do I have to fucking confess?
Make up some sins.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
So now we're back at the comedy club. McGurk is talking to a mime. We pan across a few generic comedian types. I think the first one is maybe a Carrot Top.
I wrote down 3.
So the second and third one, the third one definitely gave me Kramer from Seinfeld vibes.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell if the one in the middle was supposed to be a Jerry Seinfeld type or a Jerry Lewis type.
Adele just.
It's because Jerry Seinfeld. That
Right.
looks like Jerry Seinfeld.
I'm assuming because it's supposed to be a Kramer type that's
Yeah.
a Jerry Seinfeld.
And I do think that's a Carrot Top.
What did I say?
You said
You
Carrot
said
Top
Carrot
earlier.
Top.
Oh, okay, I'm
Those,
sorry.
those 3 right there because there's Carrot Top, Jerry Seinfeld,
Yeah.
Kramer, and then there's Jason Alexander.
So McGurk is talking to a mime, and maybe this scene wasn't as upsetting to you guys as it is to me. Because McGurk just literally bombed his dick off and is sitting here giving another comedian advice. He's being very hey, we as comedians, dude, the amount of times I see somebody do an open mic twice and then change their Facebook name to comedian blah, blah, blah. and are like, okay, guys, listen, as comedians, like start giving advice to people who have been doing it 1 week less than they have. You know what? Like, dude, it's shit like that. That is like, it's such a nuanced thing that this scene drives me up a fucking wall. And for you guys, it's like, yeah, Coach is just talking to this mime and being like, oh, hey, use a stuffed cat and it'll be funny. I hated this scene.
It's about paying your dues in what was it, in the culture? Like,
it's that mentality of like, I've done this twice, so now I know.
I've seen one dude bomb so awfully that I had to like close my ears and my eyes and wait for it to be over. And you were both there when that happened. I could not imagine seeing that happen over and over and over. And even more could I not imagine someone bombing and then being like, so here's what you gotta do.
The amount of times I've seen people on a stage get 0 laughs and then try to tell, like, hey, I think for this joke that you do, you should try. And I'm like, oh, that's very kind. Thank you. And that I will never try. So, all right, we're back at the small residence. It looks like we're filming in the garage. Brendan is explaining to Shannon he's not in this scene yet. Shannon is showing some interest in Brendan's camera, commenting about the resale value, asking very intrusive questions about Brendan's home and his security, if he has a large dog. Brendan says, we don't have a dog, and then quickly corrects himself, but we have ants.
We have.
Security ants from Argentina.
Did y'all ever have ants?
Sure.
I never had uncles, but I had aunts.
Oh, you got me. That's hey, so
better than every joke McGurk
I
just
was
told.
going to say, why don't you give him some advice?
Trust me, I know what I'm talking about.
Here's the thing, though, is I would gladly take like joke and comedy advice from Adele because I do know her humor. Yeah, no.
Not McGurk.
Not jerk.
Other people, I'm good. So Brendan shifts his focus to Jason and Melissa, and they're filming a scene. The scene, they need to break into a car, but it doesn't look realistic enough. So Brendan cuts and comments that they really need someone that actually knows how to break into a car, and Shannon confesses he just breaks the windows. So kind of excited, they got him to say that. Brendan turns the camera to Shannon, and he's like, can you repeat that? And Shannon confesses, yeah, I broke Mr. Lynch's windows, stole all of his Frank Sinatra. And then he even comments on how he broke into the principal's car. But yeah, she left the door unlocked. And Brendan's like, so you didn't have to break the window? And he's like, I guess I didn't have to.
I don't know if we talked about this in the first episode with Shannon. I think it was earlier in this episode when Brendan refers to Shannon as his evil twin.
Yeah.
And if you look at Shannon, he kind of does look like Brendan a little bit. He's got like a pointy nose and he's got like spiky red hair.
Yeah, his nose is a little more like crooked than straight.
I wonder if that was like on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, his character model isn't that far off from Brendan.
He kind of is Brendan's evil twin.
Yeah, and maybe that was on purpose because, you know, the first episode with Shannon is the art of the sucker punch.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting.
So Melissa asks Shannon why he does all this stuff, and Shannon gives this nice little speech about how he's the criminal element. That's how they're different. You don't steal, I do. You play with dolls, I don't.
I do.
I do.
You don't break into cars, I do.
You're so good at that.
You've seen this episode 7,000 times.
I've seen Emo Phillips live, dude. He's
true.
hilarious. Now, so at this point he comments he's got to get going. His serotonin levels are dipping. So he leaves and they celebrate. They're like, we got him. We did it. Guys, we got Shannon. We got Shannon right in the cannon. Right in the cannon.
They were too quick for the celebration.
Absolutely, they were. Shannon opens the door.
Very loud.
Yeah, Shannon opens the door and he's chanting with them. So he opens the camera, takes the tape, and says, bye-bye.
I can just imagine him walking away, hearing that, going down the hallway, stopping, going, oh yeah. He just goes back down, grabs it.
I mean, Brendan was not subtle about turning the camera onto Shannon.
At least didn't take the camera.
Yeah,
that's what I was worried about. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Like his father.
So frustrated, Brendan is like, okay, I gotta go for a walk. So
on a beach. How far away from a beach are they?
They're in Florida.
Yeah, but how far in Florida?
I don't know, man. There's no palm trees, so they can't be that close.
Yep. The next scene is Brendan on that walk. He's on the beach. More evidence that we might be in Florida. Who knows? Brendan walks over a bunch of seaweed, and he hears, "Watch it, jerk." And that's when Brendan realizes it's Coach McGurk. Coach asks him what he's doing at his house, and Brendan's like, this is the beach. And Coach is like, what are you doing on my beach?
This isn't a beach. This is a bath.
He's like, oh, the beach. And then he even says, I don't know if you caught him. Coach is like, not again.
All I wrote down was like, my job, I beach.
I beach.
We're having a beach off.
I'll beat you
beat
off right
you.
now. Got him.
You got it so quick. I'll beat you off. I'll beat him off.
I love this part because Brendan is like, why are you sleeping on the beach? And Coach quickly responds, because comedy is tough, Brendan. He comments he's got a pounding headache and a fish in his pants. He says he can't keep living like this. He can do stand-up without the binge drinking, or he can just stop the stand-up because he does enjoy the binge drinking. But can't do both.
That's actually an interesting thing that I've heard, because I listen to a lot of podcasts. A lot of comedians have podcasts. Vis-a-vis, I listen to a lot of podcasts with comedians on it that talk about being a comedian. And if you're not a drinker and you become a comedian, you will be, because a lot of the time you get paid in drinks.
I like to collect drink tickets like they were Pokemon.
Yes.
So I still take shows. I don't drink. I still take shows that pay, because a lot of times it's like a hybrid pay. Here's $20 and a drink ticket, whatever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I just collect drink tickets.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're not going to drink, what's the point?
Yeah. One of my favorite shows that actually does invite me back regularly gives you a drink ticket and a food ticket.
And their food is good,
Their food
boy.
is very good. All right, so here we are. It's the final scene. Brendan is addressing the school. He's giving a little presidential speech. He thanks them for being there, and a heckler yells out, "We go to school here!" So Brendan starts his speech. He apologizes for his reign of terror, and we cut over to a very confused Shannon sitting next to Melissa. He's asking Melissa, what is he doing? And Melissa is telling him, she's like, he's doing something he should have done a long time ago. We cut back to Brendan. He announces that he's going to resign his presidency effective at noon tomorrow. I'm assuming the same heckler says, tomorrow's Saturday. Okay, well then effective noon today.
It's 2:30.
Okay, so I'll officially resign at 2:31. So now we cut back to Shannon and Melissa, and Melissa tells them, we know that you stole this election. We know you beat up Thurman. You stuffed the ballot box. You threatened everybody. And Shannon's like, no, I didn't. And Melissa is like, wait, really? And she's like, well, then what happened to Thurman? And Shannon's like, I don't know. He probably fell. He's clumsy.
I can never trust anything that he says. Because even in the beginning, in the first episode we've ever met Shannon, he's talking about oh, you're the only one who showed up.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
maybe they'll still be coming. No, you're already half hour late.
I'm not going to lie. I feel like the first time I ever watched this episode, I'm like, no, he's lying.
Yeah.
He still did that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think to kind of make that point, Brendan calls up Thurman and he's like, I'm going to give the presidency to the real winner. And on his way up, Thurman completely eats shit. He completely trips and falls. I think he falls off of the stage.
And onto some shit, which he eats.
And Jason is even kind of cracking up. He's laughing. He's like, he's not getting up.
Jason.
Brendan asks if anyone has any questions or requests, and somebody says, can we get pizza more? And Brendan says, pizza more? I don't know what that means.
He probably thought it was Paramore.
Somebody asks, is ketchup a vegetable? And Brendan explains, no, it's actually a fruit, a very magical fruit. And the final question is somebody yelling, you suck!
That's not a question.
And says, oh, we have a heckler. Let me remove my brain so we can start as equals.
Call back.
Very funny. Going back to McGurk,
Yup.
the comedic genius.
That's when somebody tells him to shut up again and he records, that's not a question. So that's the end of the episode. We get to the closing credits, and now we hear McGurk trying a couple more bits.
Oh,
So
the specific joke.
what's with women crying?
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. What's with women always crying?
Yeah, what's going on with that?
He gets heckled by a woman, and he's like, yeah, I remember my first drink, lady. And she's like, yeah, you were 3, and you drank your dad's gin. And he's like, oh, shit, that is my mom.
The unexpected mom.
She's back.
We don't see her, but we hear her. And that, ladies and gents, is the end of Season 2, Episode 1, Politics.
I have a question about McGurk's mom.
Yeesh.
Who voices McGurk's mom?
If I had to guess, I would say Janine DeTulio, who does the voice of Paula.
That's what I was going to
It
guess.
sounded a little bit like Paula, maybe
Yeah.
not doing the voice so much. And there were no additional like voice credits besides Emo Phillips as Shannon and then Bill Broadus, who does a lot of voices. I believe he was Thurman.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Well, I was going to actually ask about Thurman. Does he come back?
As far as I remember, no.
He died.
Don't quote me
When
on
he
that.
fell off the stage,
He did.
Oh my
He's
God.
back up.
he passed away.
Jason went to his funeral and giggled the entire time.
Oh,
He's
Jason.
not getting up.
Jason was not gross at all this episode.
He did scratch his butt at one point.
Okay, you've never scratched your ass
Wow,
before?
that's it?
I know. I mean, it
Come
shows in
on,
the
dude,
grave.
like the Apple
But it's the
repertoire.
thing. They cut to a different shot to show that he was scratching his ass.
Okay.
It's fine if he's scratching
It's
his
background stuff. man.
Sometimes
It's
you
just
gotta
background
itch it,
stuff.
dude.
ass. Yeah, that's true. But you know what you do? You don't put the camera pointed at it.
Okay. First things first. Let's give it a grade overall.
Okay.
Who wants to
All
go
at
first?
the same time. 1, 2, 3.
B plus.
I was gonna do B+2, dude.
I was the only one that said anything. You guys left me so high and dry on that one.
I looked over and you were so handsome and I was stunned.
That's.
I also felt.
I'm still saying B plus. I'm
I was
standing
gonna
by
say
my
B+ as well.
awkward only saying B.
I got nervous. I'm sorry.
I honestly was like, oh shit, do we go on 3 or do we go on go? And I was like, oh shit, this isn't how I do it. I didn't know if you were gonna let me
Well,
get away with it.
Cat's out of the bag. I'm giving it a B plus. Are you
B+ as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Marson, what do you got?
I gotta see.
You got a C.
That's fair because they didn't address the dad situation. And I feel like
Is that what got
made
you?
it go down for me.
There's a bunch of different things that really like not again good episode, but like he answered the phone. What happened last episode? And then it's like, hello Thackeray, I'm gonna beat you in this. Wait, hold on a second. We'll go back. What happened? That so that's one thing. And then the new animation, I'm still kind of like figuring out how I feel about it. And there's just like a very light episode, like nothing really, not as far as like story antics, but like McGurk was very funny, but like he didn't do anything except just like McGurk. It's just the story beats. I wanted more of just like an overarching, and like the final end of each different plot point was like Paul is like these fucking flowers, and like that's it from that. Like I didn't see anything more. And McGurk's like, I'm gonna say some more bad jokes about women, like and then at the end it's like, did Shannon throw the election? No, it didn't. It all kind of fell off. It was still a very funny episode. I would watch it again, but I just going from like that A+ episode,
Yeah, I feel that.
right to this very light episode is.
I would like to believe that Shannon was telling that
I do too.
that he to do that.
I think by showing Thurman falling
Yeah.
just kind of proves that happened. And maybe people just wanted something that wasn't Thurman.
Yeah,
I
Anyone
agree.
but him.
because it was a good video, that
I
pretty
did.
convincing.
Vote not him before, so I get it.
I'd vote small.
I would think
vote.
big
Me
and
too.
vote small.
Yeah, same.
But at the same time, it was like, Shannon, you're still a menace. Like, just because you didn't
Yeah.
lie about this one thing,
Yeah.
you've cleared the school of just
I do have a
thugonomics.
question. I do have a question. When you ran for president, did you win?
Oh no, because I didn't do the speech. I walked up there, I said the slogan, and I sat back down.
Oh,
And then the kid who won, his name was Kachi, who was also the kid that was making fun of Neverending Story the entire time. He was the class clown. Everyone voted for him.
because he's a funny guy.
He was a funny guy, and I just had a good slogan and no speech. I didn't know what to do as a president.
How old
Yeah.
were you?
6th grade.
No,
sixth
you're a
grade.
kid.
Yeah, we're all kids. He was
Just
a
a
kid.
baby.
What did you give anyone else a grade this episode?
Yeah, Jason.
Jason?
I,
Okay. What's your Jason grade?
Gave him a B.
Nice.
There you go. Jason got a higher grade than the episode.
Oh,
He did a good slogan, and he
did?
he was
Yeah.
kind of funny.
I liked the drawing of his mom in the train.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think B is fair.
he was a solid friend that day.
that single day.
That single day.
I mean, I agree. He did stick up with Melissa, though. They did like unionize against Brendan. They went in and said, "We got to get rid of Shannon."
Yeah, they came together as satellite friends because they weren't friends outside of came together to him.
I think I've made a comment before that I think as the episodes go on, I think they become friends.
Yeah.
I'll still think about that comment that like that Jason made, where he's like, "Oh, we can just go to the movies without him. We'd sit in the middle."
What's
Yeah.
the point?
Yeah. Well, kids, I think that's going to do it for this episode.
Nice.
We did it. We're in it. We're in season 2 now. The only thing that's left are those sweet, sweet plugs. All right, Marson, why don't you go first?
I'm reaching into my bag of infinite projects here. Currently, I'm working on the sequel to my RPG podcast / audio drama. It is Puzzle Valley, is the first season. When Penny Popular's murder is recorded and sent to everyone through Snapchat, a group of teens uncover the mysteries of Puzzle Valley, the uncertainty of their future, and the secrets of those closest to them. The sequel series we're working on right now with Adele is part of it. It's a prequel set in the year 2000, and it's already looking to be one hell of a high school teen detective story. It might be too early to give away the story for that one, but as for the core of what Puzzle Valley stands for, it's about the masks other people put on us, the weight it carries, and finding the strength to take them off. Puzzle Valley means a lot to me, so if you want to listen to it, you can find it under the Eldritch Journeys banner wherever you find podcasts. Season of the Curse 2 is a home movie about two wannabe YouTubers haunted by Halloween spirits in the form of intrusive thoughts. In order to save themselves, they must go inside their own minds to battle toxic masculinity, misogyny, depression, and self-doubt. Everyone that's in this podcast is helping make that film come to life, including my YouTube brother-in-arms, Punkin' Nonstop, who has over 1,000 videos on his YouTube channel, not a hyperbole. It's got tons of independent musicians who have agreed to let us use music or downright make music from scratch for the film. I'm really excited for it. It's one of the first film projects that I actually really believe in the story, and I believe that a lot of people would benefit from seeing it, and I can't wait to see what people think. And of course, I'm still working on the feature film I started in 2016. It's called The Doorman, and it's really weird, experimental. I started working on it before I even understood how anything in a film works, like genres or anything like that, so I don't really know how to classify it. All I know is that it's going to get done one day, hopefully. But the logline is, when his childhood friends ghost him, our main character is called to the madhouse, where he forgets who he is and becomes prey to the man in the doorway. In order to escape, he must answer who he is, what he wants, and what his favorite color is. So that's a mouthful, but that's all the projects I'm working on.
So sometimes I paint, sometimes I make things, and sometimes I post that on my Instagram, which is the Artisanal of Oddity. That is Artisanal of Oddity at www.instagram.com. And that's my plug.
And as always, this podcast is brought to you by the Happy Corner Podcast. They were nice enough to donate equipment to us so we could keep this podcast going. So we always want to give them a nice little shout out at the end. The Happy Corner Podcast streams every Sunday at 1:45 Central. And then you can get the audio version wherever you get your podcasts. That's going to do it for this episode of Rewatching Home Movies. Join us next week for Season 2, Episode 2, Identifying a Body. If you liked what you heard, check out our Linktree at Linktree/RHMpod. There you can like, follow, and subscribe, send us an email, or leave us a 5-star review. I will read 5-star reviews on the podcast. Like this one. What a great idea for a podcast. This was a show I grew up on and still revisit every few years, even at 39. I'm having such a great time reliving those memories with what feels like a couch full of friends. Keep up the great work, and leave Jason alone. He's my favorite. Thank you very much to Shannon Conway for the refresh of our logo, and Chris Bongat for the use of our theme song. On behalf of myself, Tim, and my co-host, Marcin, and Adele, thank you for rewatching home movies with us. We'll see you next week. Bye.